going to work on encirclement. We're using the Road to Minsk scenario, which is a much better tutorial than the Veliki Luki. To begin with, we are going to take our infantry divisions that are sitting on the front, and we are going to use those to punch a hole through the Soviet Union. Now, the units that we have here have a lot of support behind them because they're within range of the HQ. And the reason that we're punching these Soviet units out of the way is so that they don't exert a zone of control on our Panzer divisions. Now, depending on the strength of your front, sometimes you're going to need a lot more than just one or two divisions to be able to punch this hole. In our case, the Soviet forces aren't all that strong, so we're able to kind of maximize our effect with just a few infantry divisions. Now, as you can see, some of these units retreat. Some of them are routed. We're not really too worried about that right now. We're just making a lot of room for the Panzer divisions to move through. Now, at this point, we're going to start to plan where we're going. Now, you can kind of see where you can follow some terrain contours, capture some rail lines, and pick a city. Deciding where exactly you want to go is the big tricky part here. Do you want to cover a ton of ground and possibly have a porous encirclement, or do you want it to be airtight? Now, down south in Brest-Litovsk, we've got a few more Panzer divisions, so we're going to open a hole from them as well. So in this case, Brest-Litovsk, normally I wait a turn to take, but this time I'm going to just go ahead and take it right off the bat. You actually have 3 Panzer divisions down here, so it's really a lot of force to bring to bear. For this particular scenario, we're just going to work on the encirclement and not getting all the way to Minsk and Vitebsk as the scenario likes. So as you see, I don't have much trouble moving the units out of Brest-Litovsk, but still kind of a headache. All right, we're going into fast speed here. I take my Panzer divisions furthest away from the front and I move them first. That way it kind of sets the pace for the rest of the units. Then the units that are closer can get the most out of their movement. It does 2 things for you. It doesn't let the opposing player or the AI know that you've got a whole bunch of Panzers massed up. And at the same time, it kind of lets you stagger everything the best way through. So you can have strong forces in the middle, on the edge, and at the very farthest part. Be sure if you're going to attack that you move your HQ units up at the same time so that they get the support unit benefit. Now from the north we do the same thing. We just keep staggering our Panzer units as far as they'll go, and then we move the infantry units up. I will break apart some of these units. We have some regiments covering some ground. That way we can make sure we don't have a porous front at all. All right, here we are going to take a look at our zones, and you are going to see we have a nice pocket. The Soviets were not able to break out anywhere, which is not always the case. And we have the hammer, which is our infantry divisions, and the anvil, that is our armor divisions. And you can see the Soviets now are all out of supply. They're all isolated, which is going to make them a lot easier to mop up. The real tricky part is here, you have to figure out the balance between moving your Panzer divisions forward while also keeping a good encirclement. Because 1, you don't want these units to escape, and 2, you don't want them to connect back up, and suddenly your own troops have all been encircled by the Soviets. And there's nothing worse than watching all of your Panzer divisions get encircled. So just take a look here. We're going to start hitting a few of them. Some of them are going to retreat, and that's perfectly normal. You just keep moving your units up. You keep tightening that pocket up, and you're going to start seeing them surrender. The big benefit of units surrendering is they are not available for the Soviet side later in the game. For this scenario, it doesn't really matter all that much. It's only 3 turns long. But in the long game, it means that the Soviet player does not have access to this massive pool of routed troops. So if you, as the German player, can get rid of them right off the bat, it's really a huge advantage. Here you can see we have all of these units have surrendered, and they are gone. I mean, they are not coming back. You're not going to have to worry about them in the future. That really makes it powerful for the German player. If you don't do this, you will lose the game. just covering ground is not enough. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to check my site, TheStrategyGamer.com. Thank you.